I'm Siobhan Wright, and a professor at Carroll Community College. I teach English 101 and other subjects, and today I'm going to be giving a lesson on how to read an assignment sheet for an essay. I know that it seems redundant perhaps to cover that material, but really it is the starting point for writing a great essay in a college course. So English 101 essays ask you to generate original content and to develop your point of view. You want to develop your point of view by considering your experiences, intentionally having additional experiences, reading material, watching videos, and discussing topics. We want you to develop a mature point of view. What do you look for in a writing assignment? Well, I want you to start with 3 components. 3 activities. First, read the assignment sheet from the beginning. I have an example assignment sheet that I will be giving. I want you to notice in that assignment sheet anything you are supposed to do before you write. Secondly, what is the minimum length requirement? That gives you an understanding of scope and how much time is going to be required to develop a good piece of writing. Number 3, what modes of writing, like narrative, definition, comparison, contrast, are you being asked to use? So again, 3 things. What must you do before you respond to the assignment? What is the minimum length? And what are the modes? Next, I want you to avoid at least 4 mistakes. One mistake is to get off track. Avoid getting off track or drifting through the essay. You don't want to just summarize experiences. You actually want to be engaged in a dialogue. You want to avoid making assumptions like everyone knows. You want to also make sure that you do not state information without supporting it. We have an expression in composition classrooms which goes, show, don't tell. Show us the point you're trying to make. Show us with information, with storytelling for this first example assignment. Last but not least, if your essay assignment requires you to use sources, whether you summarize them, paraphrase them, or quote them explicitly, you need to document your sources of information, often in MLA style. Assume it to be MLA style in a composition classroom. Alright, so we're going to start by reading an assignment sheet that I have and finding out what it is that we have to do first. The assignment sheet, called the Good Neighbors Essay Assignment, asks us to read and listen to The Art of Being a Neighbor by Eve Birch. That is on the This I Believe website at NPR and is linked on the assignment sheet. When you go to this location, I hope you see that you can both read the assignment and you can listen to it. That's not something that's true of every resource that your instructor will give to you, but I would not begin the essay without doing both. So I would read this essay and then I would listen to The Art of Being a Neighbor. It's actually a wonderful example of the kind of essay that you're being asked to write in the assignment sheet that I have here in the background. Okay, let's go on. Consider the experiences that you have had with neighborliness. Narrate an experience that illustrates the value of a good neighbor. Now I emphasize narrate and illustrate because those are words that help us understand what the writing task is. So you want to consider those experiences and then develop a point of view. Your essay must have a central focus. So once you've figured out the story you're going to tell, you need to figure out what that shows us or shows you about neighborliness. You want to have a central focus and a point that does not simply echo the language in the assignment sheet. The point should emerge from an experience that you share in writing that you narrate. Narrate at least one scene involving the neighbors that you will then discuss in your essay. So this is not a pure narrative, but this is a short narrative embedded in a longer essay that defines what it means to be a good neighbor. Your essay should be between 500 and 750 words. That's relatively short. And it should not fall short of 500 words, or it will not meet the minimum requirement for a C. That's very important information. Additionally, your essay should have no fewer than 5 paragraphs. The number of paragraphs is defined. It doesn't mean you can't have 6 or 7, but you can have no fewer than 5. Alright, so we've just now reviewed an assignment sheet. We know what we have to do. We have to read an essay. We have to think about it. We should listen to it at the same time. And we should let the essay guide us in thinking about our own experience with neighbors. We're going to narrate at least one experience with a neighbor that will help us develop a point about neighborliness. All right. So that's the assignment sheet that I would want you to consider. You can see it contains a lot of information that you will find absolutely critical for responding in a way that creates an essay that gets a passing grade. It is very specific. A short note about thesis statements. After you think about your thesis statement, you want to avoid being too generic. You wouldn't want to write, "It is important to be a good neighbor." Well, maybe it is, but that's such a general statement, it will be hard to really support that very generic general notion. You also want to avoid the cliche, "Good neighbors are worth their weight in gold." Instead, you might try on a thesis statement like, "Good neighbors use their voices to connect with each other." That would be more original. It doesn't sound like a meme. It doesn't look like something that should be on the back of a car on a bumper sticker. It's a perspective that you might show through an experience. Okay, so that will wrap up. And just to basically review, you want to understand what you have to do before you start writing the essay. There's going to be basic work to engage in. Second, understand what you're being asked to do, looking for the writing action verbs like narrate, define, compare and contrast. And lastly, make sure you know what the length requirements are and note any maximums. Okay, good luck to you.